Hi everyone, my name is Brian and this is the fish tank experiment. So in today's video, I'm going to work on this 30-gallon shrimp aquarium, and the focus is to take care of the algae that's starting to show up here. So we're going to go through a list of steps to algae proof this tank so that it never becomes an issue again. And it is early on that it is very easy to take care of before it kind of gets out of hand later on. So we're gonna work through that list of steps, and by the end it should be all taken care of. Oh, and remind me to buy a fish stand next time. So in my tank, I have this green dust algae showing up on top of the rocks. So I put together this list of 7 really simple steps that will help take care of this algae. And I believe most fish tanks will have algae at some point. And this doesn't mean you have to go purchase a bunch of algae eaters. It just means you need to make some adjustments in your tank, and they could be as simple as giving your tank 1 less hour of light per day or cleaning your filter, easy things like that. So also through this process, there's about 10 baby shrimp swimming around the tank, so I'll be careful not to mess with those. So we're gonna do a water test and then get through the 7 steps. So this is the kit I use, and I'm testing pH levels, nitrite, nitrate, and ammonia. So everything tested fine, no red flags, which probably tells me either my lights or the substrate might be the source of the issue. So for step 1, we're gonna do a water change either every week or if not possible, every other week. And along with the water change, we will manually disturb the algae. So brush it off or trim it or remove it with a hose, but try not to leave it in your tank. This will buy you a lot of time and your fish tank will stay looking good through this process. So for step 2, we're gonna focus on plants and substrate. So your substrate might be so new or high in nutrients that the plants cannot eat all of the nutrients, so the algae is also getting plenty to eat. So the water changes in step 1 will help remove the excess nutrients, but if I add as many plants as I can to the fish tank, that will also help take care of the problem. So I added Christmas moss on top of the rock to catch more light, and I did try to find new plants at my local fish store, but they were just full of algae, and some of the floating plants they had also had snails. So I would recommend just being careful and watching out for these 2 things when getting plants. So I came back home and filled up the tank and just used some plants that I trimmed out from my other aquariums. And so I gathered this bowl of all the plants that I'll be adding, and I'll start out with some of the sword plants. There's 7 of them, and I did end up moving them towards the outside of the tank since they'll grow quite big. And then after the sword plants, I'll show you some of the Vallisnera plants. So here they are, and I added these towards the back of the tank since they'll grow really tall. And lastly, I have these Rotala plants that I just scattered all around. So these Rotalas are really easy to trim and continue to plant. So over the months that they'll be in here, I'll just trim them and replant them, so they will fill up a lot of space in the tank. But for now, I'll wait at least a month before I trim them again, just so they can repair themselves from the trim. So now that the tank's a little bit more full, there is still quite a bit of room left, but they'll be good to absorb all those extra nutrients. And this is what it ended up looking like afterwards. So as you can see, plenty of room left to go, which I'll be working on in the next few months, but this is definitely going to help me out to keep algae down for the time being. All right, so for step 3, we're going to focus on the light, and this might be the biggest reason for algae. So I have this user manual here, and all I need to do is set the light to a lower intensity. So I'll start out at 30% and increase by 10% every few weeks as the plants get bigger. Step 4 is a light timer, and we want to be consistent with light time every day. The easiest way is with the timer. So I set mine at 6 hours per day, same time every day. Step 5 is temperature. So algae does not grow as well in colder water. So I'll remove the heater and the tank will drop temperature and stay in the low 70s. And once the tank is better balanced, I can raise the temperature back up if needed. And step 6 is to improve flow and filtration. So I picked out this Fluval Filter because I thought they did a good job with everything inside the filter. It has a back sponge for mechanical filtration. It also has a biofilter that you can fill with your own media if desired. So they provided some, but I'm sure you could use your own media preference if desired. And then it also has a carbon bag. So it does use all types of filtration in this filter. So I like that it could do that. So I just put it together in this short clip. And I also used a pre-filter sponge to protect all the baby shrimp. And so that also makes the filter have more surface area, which is good. And increasing flow in your aquarium helps to keep it cleaner. It minimizes zones in your tank where everything just settles and creates ammonia as it decomposes. And lastly, just filter maintenance. So the cleaner your filter is, the less likely you're able to have ammonia or nitrates, things like that. So it'll be less likely that you have algae. So step 7 is a Google search, and just type in common aquarium algae types and you'll see that there are a list of 10 to 15 different types of algae that can grow in your aquarium, along with all the common causes and best treatments for them. So if you know what causes different types of algae, you can prevent your aquarium from getting any to begin with. And here's a list of common algae types. And having algae eaters does help, but it doesn't take care of the underlying issue. If the issue is too much light and you only get algae eaters, then you will always have too much light and algae will continue showing up. And if the issue is high ammonia and you get more algae eaters, then the ammonia will only get higher. So I only say that in case it ends up being a simple fix for you, and this way you can end up saving yourself money. All right, that is it for today's video. I really hope some of these tips will be helpful for you, and thank you so much for watching.